Hello, BookTube. How's it going? You've seen 4 videos of book hauls today, but I'm going to give you one more. Maybe 2. But first, I just want you to know that Zoe over here thinks that I can't get to 200 subscribers because my jokes aren't funny. So, let's prove her wrong, folks.
Wow.
No, I'm just tired of hearing you tell me that my bad jokes are running people away. I love my bad jokes. And believe it or not, as much as she tries to hide it, Zoe loves my bad jokes too. She really does. Yeah. She tells awful jokes. Tell a joke.
No, they always forget the punchline.
Yeah. So, mine are better since I remember punchlines. Anyway, I am super excited because I was listening, just so you know, I had to go to Lake Arrowhead today to get a CAT scan, and then I had to go to Riverside to get an MRI. And basically, all day today, I was just listening to the Lady in the Lake audiobook. And it was tripping me out because, like, I would, like, be near Crestline, and they would talk about Crestline. I would be in Riverside, and they would talk about Riverside. I would be driving through San Bernardino, and they would start talking about San Bernardino. And so I started, like, really trying to figure out exactly where all of the places in Lady in the Lake were, like Puma Lake and Bubbling Springs and Little Fawn Lake and all that other jazz. And then I got home and I picked it up and I was just reading through some of the chapters, and I started just noticing all this stuff, and I was like super impressed. And I at first obviously tried the internet like any normal rational person would do today. And the only thing I got from the internet was that Bay City is Santa Monica. And I ordered the Raymond Chandler's map of LA, like 3 weeks ago, and it's not here yet. So I'm a little miffed. But basically, I just got all excited because where I live in Big Bear is where he's talking about, and I found it out through some very clever sleuthing. So, I would like to read you a few passages. Okay, here's one. We ate some breakfast at Alhambra, and I had the tank filled. We drove out Highway 70 and started moving past trucks into the rolling ranch country, which is not a rolling ranch country anymore. It's the Inland Empire. The IE, yo. And then he says, we'll be coming to Ontario in a minute. We'll switch over to Foothill Boulevard, and you'll see 5 miles of the finest trees in the world. Now, just so you know, Foothill Boulevard is Route 66. And that's funny because Bay City, being Santa Monica, Route 66 ends at the Santa Monica Pier. And that's actually where Interstate 10 is as well. They merge together, kind of thing. Because Route 66 isn't really a thing anymore. It's more of an idea. We reached a long slope south of San Dimas that goes up to a ridge and drops down into Pomona. That's exactly where my mom lives. We drive that every time we go to my mom's, and that's so cool. So I was just like tripping out like crazy, like left and right, because the wife of what's his name, Bill Chess. I can't remember what her first name is. Anyway, is it Meredith or? Don't give anything away if you know anything. Anyway, I can't remember what her name is. I'll figure it out in a second. Um, but she met her husband at a bar in Riverside, where I was sitting for an extremely long time with very odd folk who I don't want to say smelled like urine, but I don't know how to say that without not saying that, if that makes any sense. So it was just kind of weird, and so I left for a little bit and came back. But oh, just so you know, this is like the first chapter. Is this the first chapter? This is when I knew that this was my favorite Raymond Chandler book. This is like my favorite. Okay, Raymond Chandler, real quick, to totally get off topic, writes the best dialogue ever. Some will argue, and that's fine, because I haven't read I haven't read everything. But with my knowledge that I have, Raymond Chandler's the best dialogue writer of all time. So you guys could suck it. Okay. So, in this first chapter, he's in the office of a man named Darius Kingsley. And he was asking him questions and trying to be all tough with him. And Philip Marlowe, Raymond Chandler's PI, wasn't going to have it. And so here is my favorite little bit. "I don't like your manner," Kingsley said in a voice you could have cracked a Brazil nut on. "That's all right," I said. "I'm not selling it." Boom, bitch. Oh my gosh, before mic drops even existed. So good. Yeah? Do you agree? I do. I just love that line. That's like my favorite. Okay, anyway, so back to this. So, there I am. Are these on the same page? Did I fuck that up? Okay, so I'm going to read a bit of chapter 5 to you. San Bernardino, which is at the bottom of the mountain here. San Bernardino baked and shimmered in the afternoon heat. The air was hot enough to blister my tongue, and it was hotter than shit today, by the way. I drove through it gasping, stopped long enough to buy a pint of liquor in case I fainted before I got to the mountains, and started up the long grade to crestline. In 15 miles, the road climbed 5,000 feet. I think it's 14, actually, but that's okay. But even then, it was far from cool. 30 miles of mountain driving brought me to the tall pines and a place called Bubbling Springs. It had a clapboard store and a gas pump, but it felt like paradise. From there on, it was cool all the way. Now, Bubbling Springs is a place called Running Springs, which is like a half hour from here. Just so you know. Okay. The Puma Lake Dam had an armed sentry at each end and one in the middle. The first one I came to had me close all the windows of the car before crossing over the dam. About 100 yards from the dam, a rope with cork floats barred the pleasure boats from coming any closer. Beyond these details, the war did not seem to have done anything much to Puma Lake. Because this was written during World War II. Um, Now, I'm sitting here going, okay, where the fuck is there a lake with a dam up here? And then I'm like, you stupid fool. It's Big Bear Lake, you big dumb idiot. And I was like, oh shit. Because, like, when you first come up, when you first hit, the first time you see the lake, you're at the dam. But, I don't know. I guess I just sometimes don't think of it as a dam because it's a road. Um, but that's just because I'm a fool. Let me see here. There is some more good shit. The road skimmed along a high granite outcrop and dropped off into meadows of coarse grass in which grew what was left of the wild irises and the white purple lupin. I guess that's what that is. Let's see. Road dropped again. Aha. The road dropped again to lake level, and the landscape began to be filled. Oh my god. Began to be full of girls in gaudy slacks and snoods and peasant handkerchiefs, and rat rolls and fat-soled sandals and fat white thighs. People on bicycles wobbled cautiously over the highway, and now and then an anxious-looking bird thumped past on a power scooter. Now let me tell you something. Right now, as we speak, there is a horrendously horrific bike race. There's bike races up here all the fucking time, like bicycle races. Now in Big Bear, there's basically you could either come up 18 through Crestline and all that. You could come up the 330, which merges with the 18, and that's where you come in through San Bernardino and Highland. Or you could come in through, what's the name of that town on the far side? I always forget what it is. It's not Yucca Valley. It's Yucaipa. You could come up from Yucaipa, or you could come from the high desert, like through Victorville and Apple Valley. Okay. Now, this ridiculous bike ride has people riding their bike from the bottom of, like, the 330. So down at the very bottom of the mountain, I think. They ride all the fucking way up the mountain, go around the lake or something, and then go down the mountain, down the side that ends in Yucaipa. And so there's like 4 different races. One's like 100 miles, one's like 150 miles, or whatever. Like, they're all different. But, there's all these fucking, like, different colored arrows because every color's a different race or whatever. So, and there's this one curve on the road up here, and every freaking time we drive on it, there's some freaking dude on a bike. And you have to stay 5 feet away from him. It's the law, and it's on a curvy-ass bit of road. So if I go over into the other lane to not hit the bike, I risk getting into a head-on collision with whatever's coming around the corner. It's just, the biking community here is big, and all of the tourists in the village with their fat-heeled sandals is hysterical. Like, I can't believe that this is all here. It boggles my mind. Okay, a mile from the village, the highway was joined by another lesser road, which curved back into the mountains. A rough wooden sign under the highway sign said Little Fawn Lake, a mile and 3/4. That is, I believe, Fawn Skin, which is on the north shore of Big Bear Lake. So the fact that it's being referred to as a separate lake is the only thing that I can't wrap my head around. But the lesser road is now Highway 38, and that's the one that goes like on the north shore of Big Bear Lake and then down to Ukaipa. Um, and then this is the part that got me right here. A blue jay squawked on a branch, and a squirrel scolded at me and beat one paw angrily on the pine cone it was holding. A scarlet topped woodpecker stopped probing in the bark long enough to look at me with one beady eye and then dodged behind the tree trunk to look at me with the other one. That's exactly what happens here. We have our blue jays and our red-headed woodpeckers. And it was like Philip Marlowe was hanging out with me on my goddamn porch. Oh, it's so amazing. So now that I've come to this conclusion, I'm gonna probably read this again and like be like, oh, and now it's gonna have like this fondness. I'm at the lake that the lady is in. God damn it.